Let's head overseas now, and if you believe the hype and the worst cryptic clues in history, then in just 2 sleeps' time, Donald Trump will announce he's running for president in 2024. He's invited supporters to join him at Mar-a-Lago for the party and doesn't seem at all deterred by a chorus of previously supportive voices urging him to either delay or rethink his decision entirely. The headlines following the midterms this week have been less than flattering, but in usual Trump style, that's all just fake news. What can't be fobbed off, though, is the fact the Democrats have just today retained control of the Senate in a performance that exceeded expectations. The big red Republican wave never came. Some will say it's all Trump's fault. Others, including my next guest, will disagree. Daughter-in-law Lara will be joining the former president at Mar-a-Lago this Tuesday, but first she joins me. Lara, great to see you again. Are you really confident there's an appetite in America for Donald Trump, either now or in 2024?
Look, there's never been a better time, I think, for Donald Trump to come back than right now. You look around the country at places like the suburbs of New York City, where you had all of these blue districts, these very Democrat stronghold districts, flipping to Republican districts because the policies of the Democrat Party have not served people well, and they are tired of it. They're ready to take their country back. They want to feel safe. They want inflation to go down. They want the gas prices to go down. The great news, if my father-in-law does decide to run for president, is he has done all of those things before. He has been in the White House. We saw in 4 years how quickly he was able to get things on track for America and the incredible job that he did. So I don't think there's ever been a better time, to be honest with you, for Donald Trump to come back. You look at his record, by the way, in these midterms for the endorsements he gave, 219 wins and only 16 losses. That's a record that I think most sports teams would love to have.
I know you love a sporting analogy. I think they also say in sport that confidence is key and self-belief too, and your father-in-law has never lacked either of those things. But you look at the headlines, you look at the commentary, even from generally conservative outlets, and a lot of them are saying that he needs to walk away.
Well, first of all, you don't think that our mainstream media here isn't Donald Trump's best friend? Really? They hate him. And you have to also look at the establishment, and I say that from both parties. Look, Donald Trump is somebody that cannot be controlled. He always said, I'm going to run for president of the United States to serve the American people. I'm not there to serve either party in Congress, or, you know, this is for the people. And so they don't like that they can't control him. So I think they're trying anything they can to get Donald Trump out of the way. I'll tell you, everywhere I go, and I live in obviously a very Republican state, in the state of Florida, all I hear from people is, we need Donald Trump back. We want him back. Please tell us he's running. So I don't think you can believe all the headlines, although I know that won't come as a shock to you.
No, I would definitely agree with that final point that you've made. Is he a stable genius, as he described himself online a couple of days ago?
Perhaps that's the best way to describe him, actually. And I think because he was not a politician prior to, running for president, it gave him perspective that I don't think anyone else could have. The way he approached different problems, different situations. Look at the way he handled North Korea and Kim Jong-un, and that incredible sight that we saw of our president stepping there together with the leader of North Korea. I mean, we were on the verge of a denuclearized Korean peninsula, but most presidents wouldn't in a million years consider doing what he did. But it worked in so many cases, whether you talk about our economy, whether you talk about keeping us safe as a country, whether you talk about our strength around the world. It was a positive thing with Donald Trump in the White House. And so perhaps stable genius, is a good term for him.
So Mar-a-Lago, Tuesday, what will happen for those who are lucky enough to be there?
I hope it's a very historic event. If indeed he does decide to run again, and that's the announcement we hear on Tuesday, I'll tell you, I was there for the 2015 announcement, of course, for his first run for the White House. And gosh, I didn't really realize, I think, in that moment, how historic it would be and how poignant a moment that was in my life personally, but for all of the country and really the entire world. So look, if you're lucky enough to find yourself in South Florida on Tuesday, highly recommend stopping by Mar-a-Lago. I don't think you'll ever regret it.
Speaking of, your father-in-law and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in a two-horse race. Who wins?
I think that Ron DeSantis is very smart. Look, he's a young guy. There will be a lot of opportunity for him in the future, and he knows this, to run for president. And so I think he's probably waiting to see what my father-in-law does. And I think he's a smart enough guy to know that it would be great to have all the support of this party, of the America First MAGA movement, whatever you want to call it, fully behind him in 2028, then possibly, fracturing it in 2024. I can tell you those primaries get very messy and very raw. We've experienced that before. So wouldn't it be nicer for him, and I think he knows this, to wait until 2028?
Well, it sounds like the kind of advice you and your family would like him to take. It will be fascinating to watch either way. Can the Republicans unite behind Trump?
Well, it's so funny because if you think back to 2016, that was really the question, is if Donald Trump became the nominee, which no one, Aaron, thought was possible. He ran against 17 other very qualified candidates, people that had been in politics for a long time, and they said, gosh, if Donald Trump actually became the nominee, could we support him? Well, of course, they ultimately did, because they know that he has what it takes not only to win the White House, but to do incredible things for this country. So yes, absolutely, I think the party would be behind him. And I think that they know that the American people, by and large, are behind him. And so, look, of course, we'll see what happens on Tuesday, but I think we're poised for something very big and very exciting.
Well, it's always larger than life whenever your father-in-law is involved. Lara, we thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to talk to you when we can actually talk about the fact that he is running, which I suspect he is. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am, we will. Thank you.